All right, Scouting Combine recap. Here we go. Most impressive performance. Chris, I assume that you carefully studied every minute of every hour of the exhaustive coverage on NFL Network. Who had the most impressive performance?
Gosh, there's a lot. I mean, there really is. First off, I mean, the school of Georgia, they're defensive freaks. I mean, we heard about that, and I think that's where you start off. I mean, again, they're two defensive tackles, especially Jordan Davis, 340 pounds, running 4.7 or 4.8 flat, whatever. The speed at the combine in general was insane. It was the fastest combine we ever had in the history of the NFL. Are you kidding me with that guy right there? Like, are you kidding me at 340 running that? That's insane. I mean, that to me is a guy that, yes, now was obviously going to be a first-round pick. But when you show that type of speed and athleticism, that changes everybody's perspective to now you go, oh, wait, this guy can play on third downs, and he can rush the passer. We don't have to take him off the field. And, oh, man, wait, he is going to be able to shoot a gap and cause disruption. It's not just going to be a big guy that kind of makes a mosh pit in the middle of the offensive line and makes it hard for us to run on. I mean, that's. I mean, you could see The Rock was impressive. He said, holy crap, Batman, that was fast. That to me was probably the star of the show, let alone, like, Baylor. How about Baylor having the fastest DB in the combine, the fastest wide receiver in the combine? I mean, that to me was the funnest thing to watch, Mike. The wide receivers and DBs, it was 1-4-3 after another, and that was pretty cool to see. Lots of rockets up people's butts in this combine.
Well, let's start with Jordan Davis. You mentioned him, the Georgia defensive tackle. 4.78 seconds. Fastest for any player over 330 pounds at the combine since 2006. Now, I still have memories of Bruce Campbell and how he blew everyone away. Offensive tackle, had a really fast 40. The 40 is not relevant to an offensive tackle ever, except when something really good is happening or when something really bad is happening. It doesn't matter to an offensive lineman. But it is an indication, not that you're going to see Jordan Davis chasing guys around in a straight line, but that athleticism comes in handy because you put that big guy in the middle of the defensive line, and yes, he's got to be strong enough to fend off blockers, but he has to be athletic enough to slip through cracks and get after the quarterback and chase him around in the backfield, Chris Jones style. Right?
There you go.
So, speaking of memories of Chris Jones, when he ran the 40, he had a wardrobe malfunction when he ran the 40 all those years ago. It didn't happen to Jordan Davis. But so that straight line speed at least has a little relevance to a guy who is going to be charged with finding that daylight and taking off after a quarterback, even if it's not going to be a straight line run to the quarterback.
No doubt. It just shows he's got versatility, right? He's just not going to be that guy that you just go, oh, he can just go and hold the guy up and go, you guys can't move me, and now I've messed up the play that way. You're going to be able to play, defenses. To your point, we're going to go, hey, no, the hell with holding that guy up. Just get through between the guard and the tackle right there. Shoot that gap and get in the backfield and just blow the play up and cause chaos. That to me, is what he showed, that he's going to be able to be that guy as well as the guy that can hold people up and cause that mosh pit. And I would think that, hey, it seemed like in a lot of mock drafts you looked at, and you know me, I'm at the very start of my evaluation phase here of all this stuff. He was like towards the end of the first round, and most things I saw in the 20s, that type of performance there, moving like that, that's going to move him up 5-10 spots at least. It really is. And I would think when all is said and done, he's a little higher than a lot of these mock drafts have him as of right now.
And there's a difference, too, between the final time, because that doesn't really matter. You're never going to run like that on a football field, especially without pads on. But you could see the athleticism and how he moved. I think that's the key.
Right.
As he's moving, you're saying, man, that guy is flying.
And how he got out
the screen.
Right.
Yes. And so that's what I think is particularly relevant. It's the Vince Wilfork factor. The really big guy who isn't just a sack of potatoes. He's a guy that can make things happen athletically. Wilfork's that way. The best defensive tackles are that way. Now, Aaron Donald isn't that big, but it's the combination of the strength and the speed and the athleticism of Aaron Donald with a body that you just can't move. That's the ultimate combination, Chris.
100%.
You can't move him, and he's going to move through and past you, and he's going to be gone before you even realize what happened.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just so easy for him. You watch here the drills, just the way he turns. I mean, the body control, for somebody that big. Legs aren't flailing all over the place. I mean, he's really extremely athletic. And then, to all these things you're talking about and what you're seeing here, what it means is, yeah, it's the underwear Olympics and all of that. But again, to your point, Mike, now it's like, hey, we're going to play 4-3 defense. Hey, you're the shade nose tackle. Hey, you're athletic enough. Let's put you at the 3 technique. I mean, look at that. That was pretty damn good just in itself. Falling down, somersault over. Hey, we want you to play 3 technique and be out here a little bit on the outside edge of the guard, cause chaos there. Oh, wait, hey, we're going to play a 3-4 defense now. We want you to play nose tackle. Oh, wait. Now we got another big guy. We're going to put him in nose tackle. We want to make you, the 3-4 defensive end who lines up straight up over the offensive tackle. He's going to be able to do all of that stuff. And especially now with the athleticism, it's going to open people's eyes to this versatility, what they saw, and realizing that, there's more potential than probably even the way he was used in Georgia. And that's just going to excite people. People like this, there ain't a lot of people on earth walking around at 340 that can run 4.78 and jump like Jordan Davis can.
You mentioned the Baylor guys. Kalen Barnes,
Whoa.
DB from Baylor, generated the second fastest 40 in scouting combine history at 4.23 seconds, 1/100th of a second behind John Ross from 5 years ago, the Bengals receiver, and 1/100th of a second ahead of Chris Johnson, the Titans running back from 2008. And with defensive backs, the 40 is extra relevant because it speaks to recovery speed.
Exactly.
Guy runs past you, you've got the ability to close ground, especially if the ball's in the air and you've got a few extra seconds to try to catch up to him. That's where it becomes very relevant to have that kind of speed as a defensive back, Chris.
100%. First off, you're covering a bunch of guys that run 4.3 and 4.4. So if you can run a 10th faster than them, of course, they know where they're going. You don't. So you got to be a little bit faster. What does great speed do? It allows you to be, hey, when I'm running 90%, I'm still running 4.4. And now because I'm not going 100%, I can change directions and do things like that to where, yeah, I'm protecting the go route, but I'm not going 100% because I'm naturally really fast. And, now when that receiver puts the brakes on to run an out route or a comeback, they're able to, be more in control because they're not having to worry about, oh, my gosh, I got to get on my horse and fly because this guy can run by me. No, they're in control. They can stop, now make a break on the football with their explosiveness that way. So that's where, to your point, Mike, it is special. And, you go through it with DBs in the history of the NFL. This is one thing. This is where, it drives me crazy every year. The greatest DBs in the history of football are the fastest guys on their team for the most part. They're 4.2, 4.3 guys. When you start getting shut down corners who run, 4.48 or 4.49, they don't really exist. 4.5 flat, that does not happen. Deion Sanders, Champ Bailey's, Darrelle Revis's of the world, all those guys, they're all 4.2, 4.3-ish. They're in that range, and that's why it's really, really important because we know there's a lot of freaky receivers in the NFL right now.
Texas San Antonio cornerback Tariq Woolen also put in a 4.26 second yard 40. That was the fourth fastest 40-yard dash in combine history. Do we have
He's 6'4", this kid,
40?
Too, Mike.
That's
this
amazing.
Kid.
6'4" and a half and 205 pounds.
Right?
That is amazing. And the reality, though, is, and this is the caveats, when you look at the list of the fastest combine 40-yard dashes ever, there aren't many star players that jump off the page. So, again, it's just one piece. Everything that happens at the combine is just one piece. It's a fairly important piece, but the fastest of the fast, for the most part, they've had limitations on their ability to play at the NFL level, which just underscores the fact that when you're on a football field, number one, you have pads on. Number two, you have other guys who are possibly getting in your way, putting more of a premium on stopping and starting and moving through physical distraction as opposed to just being able to do what you do best, which is run fast in a straight line. And there's a frustration factor that comes into play when you know you're really fast, but you can't show it because you got to get through this guy. Well, if you're a receiver, you got to get off the jam at the line of scrimmage. You're a defensive back. You've got to go this way and that way. You can't show it off.
Yeah,
you'd like to show it off. You'd like to just go out and run the 40 and say, hey, if I can run the 40 in sub 4.3, give us 7 points. But that's not how it works.
No.
That's why, again, it's just one piece of a broader puzzle. But, hey, it's always better to be fast than not fast.
It's a big piece. It really is. And, yeah, there's some guys out there, like you said. I mean, John Ross, yeah, he hasn't lived up to it, no doubt. There's some of those guys. You're right. You got to still be able to play the sport and be athletic and move in different body positions and all that. But there's still a tangible piece of evidence. Again, a lot of the really, really fast guys sometimes don't run at the combine either. The freakiest guys don't have to do it anymore. So you can't forget that. Speed is still real. You look at the top DBs in the history of football, like we said, Darrell Green, Deion Sanders, they're the fastest people ever. Joey Galloway at wide receiver, Randy Moss, there's some of those guys, they didn't, Galloway ran a 4.1 at the combine, before the laser times. Moss, he wasn't at the combine because he was in trouble, right? I mean, so it is a real thing. There's no doubt about it. But there is got to be a combination of being able to play football and not being a track star. But, again, you look at some of the greatest players in the history of our sport, whether it's DBs, receivers, and running backs, most of them have another gear that a lot of the guys on the field don't have, certainly. And that's where, you try to find this now and piece it together. Wait, can this guy really play? Or is it really just a straight line guy, to your point, that can't do much off of that? And now you start to dig through it. Is he coached the right way? Can we teach him certain techniques to make better? And you see where it goes from there.
As you mentioned, it was the fastest ever combine from the perspective of the 40-yard dash. Average speed of 4.71 seconds. 31 players with a sub 4.4. That was the most ever.
Man.
It was the fastest running back, receiver, offensive line, linebacker, and defensive back groups ever. To the point where it makes me want to go inspect the surface. Like, did they put down some new special turf down that one white stripe? And I say that facetiously. I will say this, though. I haven't written about this at PFT, but there is some suspicion from people within the broader combine production bubble that those unofficial times that were popping up on Thursday night were goosed a little bit to be lower than maybe they should have been, just to generate buzz and get people to tune in. What a shock. A TV network trying to get people to tune in. But you saw some of those, like there was a 4.21.
Yeah,
that
the
ended
first
up being
night,
a 4.28.
the receiver from Baylor. Right.
Yes.
Yes, there was some. But, Mike, to argue against that a little bit, there was some the other way, too, where guys where it said 4.32, and then they came back and corrected it, and it was like, no, you ran 4.27, actually. He ran better than the thing we put out there. Definitely. I think what we had is a really fast year. I know a lot of people, the conspiracy theorists are out. I know, I get it. But here's another piece of, real tangible evidence to tell you this is a fast class. I know with the Senior Bowl, they made them wear, what are those damn things that keep track of how fast and your heart monitor and all that? I'm forgetting the damn name they use, whatever. But their GPS tracking system.
It's the Zebra Technologies.
Right.
We have Sean Payton on every year talking about Zebra Technologies.
Right.
It's the device, yeah.
Right. So they were, and I know just through the Senior Bowl, and they, Daniel Jeremiah, who does a great job on the NFL Network through the Combine, he even said it. Some of these guys' numbers that they had through the Senior Bowl were like, whoa, this is really fast. This guy in practice ran 22 miles per hour today when he ran after a receiver. Or this guy caught the ball and he hit plus 20. So there was numbers and people out there already thinking that this combine was going to be like this, just to kind of squash. And here's your receiver who originally we thought 4.21. I mean, this guy is rolling. 40, he was still getting faster. I think that's what's scary. And when you watch these receivers, you were just like, oh, my gosh, is every guy going to run 4.3 here? I mean, it was just one guy with 3 rockets up their ass after another. It was awesome. It really was. It was as fun as I ever remember watching the 40s, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It really was.
You know who this is bad news for?
What's that?
Bad news for the guys already in the league. You don't want the incoming class to be this good.
Right.
Hey, I
Some
remember
real
we're
difference
boycotting
makers.
off-season workouts, rookies. Don't show up for off-season workouts. Nobody's showing up. I mean, there is that push and pull because it's a zero-sum game. There's only so many jobs in the NFL, and if too many of these guys are good coming in, it's necessarily going to force some of the older, more expensive guys out. So, biggest losers this weekend. Guys who have been in the NFL for
5+
several years who have started to lose his
You're
step.
in deep crap. Right. No doubt about it. Yeah, we'll see where it goes. We'll see what these guys can turn into. But certainly some guys that have some, explosive elements. Even the running back from Iowa State, he was phenomenal. A guy that you look at and go, oh, he's got some star potential maybe at the next level. There was a lot of guys that really looked the part, and it looks like it's a class that's got a little of everything, Mike, from what I even hear and what I see. You got some top-level stars, and it seems like there's pretty good depth throughout the draft, too, to where, this will be an important one for teams that, are trying to build a team.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.